Hello and welcome to the latest This is the Music Meets podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by Death of the High Street. Over the course of the latest podcast, we will discuss the band's fantastic new single, Not Fair, take a look back on what they've achieved in 2022, as well as their plans for 2023. So, Death of the High Street, welcome along to the This is the Music Meets podcast. How are you all doing today?
Sound, thank you, pal. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Just crazily busy with the day job at the minute. But hey, I shouldn't really complain too much, I guess.
Things we have to do for money, eh?
Absolutely, pain in the backside. So, kind of like then for each of you, really, we're going to go right back to sort of even before the band even started. So kind of like, what can you remember like your like earliest musical sort of memories, even like a song or maybe like an album or something that maybe shaped you into, maybe to sort of getting into music?
Mine was probably, so when I was from a very early age, my grandma used to listen to the Beatles all the time. And so when I'd go up and stay at a weekend, I steadily became more and more obsessed with the Beatles, which led me to asking for a guitar, which led me to having guitar lessons or whatever. So yeah, I was pretty obsessed. I'm an obsessive Beatles fan since I was 7 or so. So that was my kind of way into it all.
Yeah, I think a little bit similar. My dad always played guitar when I was younger, so naturally watching him, I kind of thought I'll give that a go, and used to tag along to his little like folk club and just sit there pretending to play, not knowing what I was doing. And then I think my older brother had got a copy of Nirvana, Nevermind, and when he put that on, I was like, "Oh, this is a little bit interesting kind of thing."
Sure.
Thought, definitely.
Yeah, I've got that exact same memory. I always used to. I started on the drums. The drum on my knee in the car, along to like Led Zeppelin and what else my parents listened to, Frank Zappa, Pink Floyd, that sort of thing. But I was really interested in Yes. They had this one album, Fragile by Yes.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Nice. Got into prog and that sort of thing, and I moved away and got on guitar. I didn't get on with guitar the first 2 or 3 times I tried. I had like one of those 3/4 side length ones as a kid, and I just couldn't get the rhythms, couldn't get to grips with it. But
Andy, you'll get to grips with it one day.
One day.
Yeah. I'm trying. It's a good exercise.
What about you, Joseph?
Yeah, I think, my dad had a record player and found a load of his old stuff like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, some Beatles records and stuff, so I got into it through there. But when I got a bit older, got more into like the sort of new metal scene, and then got into drums from there, really. Yeah, so I started when I was about 15, and we was into similar stuff and all, weren't we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So sort of quite a fairly sort of similar sort of background and obviously like shared influences as well. So kind of like fast forwarding quite a bit, sort of what I'm quite keen to know about is obviously the name of the band, Death of the High Street. Kind of like, what was the influence and sort of the idea behind that?
So originally, me, Joe, and Ash had a band that had been going a couple of years that would not necessarily done a great deal with it, and we were kind of a different sound, a bit less polished, should I say, and then we were going for a rebrand, so we knew we'd gone into a studio to record an album, and we were looking to sort of rebrand ourselves, I guess, and that's when we invited Andy in to sort of bolster up the sound. And so when we were coming up, we were coming up with all sorts of names, anything, something that we wanted it to be edgy, we wanted it to be interesting, catching and what have you, and kind of a through line of a lot of everything we write and do, and our sort of what we talk about in our own personal lives and what have you, has been the steady decay of things around us. And so we live in a small little mining town, and I've lived here 7 years, and just in those 7 years you've seen shops close, pubs close, only to be replaced by a vape shop that will close down in a couple of months, only to etc. So on and so forth. So we kind of thought, so I think it was Ash that actually had Death of the High Street as the sort of his suggestion. And the more we sat on it, we thought, that's kind of perfect actually, because that's what we like talking about. That's like what we like singing about. It kind of fits. It works really well. And I don't see it necessarily changing for a while on the high street. So it'll stay pretty apt, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, as you were saying there about, shops shutting and pubs closing, I think sadly that seems to be a common thread, across the country, unfortunately. But let's hope that maybe that might reverse. Fortunes change sooner rather than later, because it's a bit frustrating when all that's there is either charity shops or, as you said, vape shops or something like that. You want something a bit different, don't you? So obviously the new tune, Not Fair, came out last Friday, obviously the 10th of Feb. It's a fantastic tune, but kind of like it sort of sees you take a little bit of a departure from sort of like the usual sort of sound and that you've released, that are sort of like five singles prior to this one.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like, then was that like a deliberate decision to sort of move into sort of a different sort of kind of like a different sound in terms of like the vocal delivery, and also as well kind of like the subject matter as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting on quite a few, given how long we've been going, we've got quite a lot of songs, songs that no one will hear necessarily, and we'll never release or anything. But I think we have got, a sort of reasonable proportion of them are kitchen sink drama, boy girl breakup songs, but not Blink 182 style. It's a little bit different. But we recognise that we'd kind of only put out a certain type of song, or sort of angry rant song about society or whatever, politics. But this song we all really liked. It was a song we really enjoyed playing a lot last year, so we thought it'd be best to go and harness that energy off the back of playing a lot of gigs last year, playing it a lot of times. We knew we could go in and make it sound good, and so just to contrast what we had put out, we thought we had confidence enough that it wasn't going to be completely and utterly a curveball. It's not going to sound completely different. It's still us. It still sounds like us.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
Sort of angry man thing still comes out in it and whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's always been one that we've played live, and it's one we've had it for a while, but we wanted to get a decent recording of it because we wanted people to hear it. So
yeah, I mean, to us, it's kind of like, even though it is, we acknowledge it is slightly different to what we've put out before. To us as a band, it's not, because we've got that history of what we've also got that we've done previously. So kind of we acknowledge that, it's slightly different to Synergy and Exit and that kind of track, but for us, it's kind of still
more like what you were doing before than what we're doing, the other stuff we're doing now.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. And we're recording this on a Wednesday evening. So tomorrow night, you've obviously got a video coming out. I think it's about 8 o'clock, I think, as well. So kind of like who sort of roughly what's the sort of the idea behind the video? And is there any of you that maybe might be in the future sort of a starring role in a feature length film or anything like that, or the acting skills very much to be left on the cutting floor?
Scott's not a bad actor, to be fair.
I've been on Crime Watch a few times.
This was Andy's sort of.
This is sort of my baby. I mean, Scott's been the actor in pretty much all the videos up to this point. And then we kind of thought it'd look a bit more, like something bigger than ourselves if we got some actors in to do some kind of narrative.
Yeah.
So you've got this couple who goes about their day. It's just a sort of day in their life. But they've got this version of their partner in their head, always at them throughout their day. It's not really there. It's chained to them. And just, Aggie shots, easy to shoot stuff.
Yeah.
It's all in the edit, really.
We had a
lot of fun. Yeah. They go through this day, and then they wind up back at the pub where we're playing, but we're just sort of a cameo.
Yeah. So kind of like
we wanted to have a fight scene with body doubles and stuff, but budget constraints, you know.
The budget of £0 didn't stretch very far, so we had to kind of do what we could do.
So kind of like, what is that? Are there like any plans like in the future to maybe like revisit like videos for future releases, or is it just going to very much depend on like maybe the feel of the song, or obviously
I had a lot of fun
like the budget
shooting it and making it, and Ash wasn't really present. Ash is normally the daddy of the group, so I think with both our minds we could make something great. That's
I think
the general consensus.
We kind of have enjoyed learning how to make them as well, you know, and we don't see ourselves as Scorsese or anything, but it's if you claim to be a punk band or, you know, an alternative band or what have you, and we use the word DIY or what have you, you know, we like being able to go, here's a song we've made ourselves, and here's a video that we've made ourselves, and
sure.
You know, all promotion is from us, and all this, you know, it's a wholesome feeling when it all comes out.
It's good. It's fun to do as well, you know. Enjoy making it.
Yeah, we're quite lucky as well because we've got quite a strong community around the band. So when we come up with an idea, we've got venues and locations that people are good enough to let us use and basically let us do what we want in there. So it's good for where we live and our local area to kind of get as many people involved as we can and ask as many favours and borrow things, and they're all on board with it. So it's really good for the band and sort of the local, you know, community as well.
That's it. Brings people together at the end of the day.
Definitely.
Yeah, sure, great stuff. And kind of like as well, then what's like the writing process like within the band? Is it sort of, do you all get involved, or is it very much, you know, the idea of the song is then presented and this is what we're going with, or do you all sort of like, you know, chip in your own individual, you know, ideas behind, you know, how you think that the song should sound? How does it work?
Bit of both.
Originally I'd bring most of the bones of a song to a practice, and we'd sort of hash something together. But then steadily over the last sort of year and a half and what have you, since Andy joined the band, maybe Ash brings a riff with him. Maybe Ash and Andy have been practicing and they've got, you know, most of a song, and I'll write. But lyric wise, it'll tend, you know, I'll tend to write them. But these guys all go, what about a song about this? Or have you heard about this? It'd be interesting to write a song about that. Or, you know, they'll make suggestions. But yeah, we find at the minute it's kind of someone brings a riff, someone suggests something, and we'll just sort of hash it out. Yeah. And then we keep coming back, you know, over a series of weeks, we keep coming back to honing it down and go, yeah, that's a song. That's a good song. That's a good song.
Well, it's like a prime example is like the new one that we've been working on recently. Me and Andy were hashing that one out in my back garden last summer, just as a little bit of a fun riff to play, and it's developed over the last 6 months into a fully formed song. You've added your lyrics to it. Joe's put a wicked drum beat to it. Kind of now, it's definitely more of a process now than just kind of one person bringing a song into it and saying this is a song. There we go. It's kind of more we're all involved in the process now.
Yeah, obviously the more comfortable we've all come playing together, and the more live shows you do, I think when we all get in our practice room now, it is a lot easier for us to jam and just riff and just see what you can do, rather than sort of, you'd probably turn up to a practice 3 years ago, and if you didn't have a song to practice, it's kind of like, what do we do? What are we going to do? You know, I think with Andy coming in, and you know, Andy's full of trickery and he likes messing around with all sorts of sounds and different, you know, instruments and whatnot. It's allowed us to, and you know, you to become more comfortable playing in different ways and what have you. It's so. Yeah, we've kind of developed the process as we've gone along. It's good, you know, it's a collaborative process. It's good, you know, it's fun. We wish we could be able to just go sit in a studio for 3 months and, you know, do what we want, you know, record the clinking of you know, a cup on something and make a song out of that. But, you know, everyone have to work and what have you.
Brilliant. And then does that extend then to the recording process as well? Do you guys sort of continue with that DIY ethos, or do you know, get it done by you know, like an engineer recording sound man type thing?
we have recorded some stuff ourselves, and that's another thing that we're sort of on the sidelines. We're developing our ability to record ourselves because we have our own unit and what have you, with all our gear set up and whatever.
It's expensive.
Since 3 or 4 years ago, we first used a studio local to us called Electric Bear, and we've never gone anywhere else since, because we've kind of got to know them. They know us. We trust them with curating our sound. We've got a good relationship. The studio's brilliant. They've recorded the most Not Fair, the recent single. We're really chuffed with that. He's done us really proud. So whilst we're paying to have it done, we're paying to go to a place where we've actually got a rapport, a relationship with them, and we're supporting like a local business and whatever. So, but yeah, in terms of how we record, it's kind of that used to be a thing where we'd all get there and be like, what is it? Like, how are we going to do it? But it's kind of, we go in and we're sort of all business minded now in terms of get it done, because we've spent hours and hours in our unit sort of playing, that we've got the feel. It's just about creating it. And they always make us feel comfortable enough that you can go in and you could be in your living room doing it, kind of thing. So we always tend to get good results from it. But yeah, so it's fun. I used to find that probably the worst part about being in band was actually trying to record, because I panic.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But now we feel more confident.
I think because we know Simon and Jared now, like, it just takes the pressure off it, because like you can just you're going to come.
You're chilled, aren't you? Like I say, they know our sound. You know that you could go in and like we've honed it quite well now, so we can record pretty much a new song in one session, one day. Drums, bass, guitar, vocals, generally.
We had to do this one different because I had to go in on a separate day.
And then more timing issues than anything else. We did all bass and guitars and vocals the next day, didn't we? But yeah, generally we can do it in an 8-hour day, and you can kind of leave it with them, and you kind of know they know what sound we're after. So we've got the trust with them to let them kind of just get on with it, because they're great guys and they know what we kind of want from it, don't they?
Yeah, most time they send a rough copy and then we don't really have that much to say. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
We've on to the next one.
So great stuff. It sounds like a really solid foundation and but that you're working from in the first place, which is, and it's great to hear. So kind of like, you guys have you've released 6 singles since you formed, or since the first release back in 2021. Have any of you got like a personal favourite at all?
Out of the ones we've got out, I would probably say, if I went to Spotify now and wanted to listen to one of our tracks, I'd probably go for this new one, To Be Fair, Not Fair.
Yeah.
I think, but then, I suppose I'm biased. I've listened to the other ones so many times.
I must have listened to it about 1,000 times editing this video, and I was still saying Not Fair.
I think excluding the new one, it'd probably Anchor, I reckon.
Drink Driver, I think, for me. I love playing Drink Driver live. I really enjoy that one.
Mine's Synergy, definitely. Yeah. I love Synergy because we had when we recorded the album back in 2020, was it? Synergy was on the album originally, but it was a completely different version. And we really liked the song, so we decided to kind of like rework it and go and record it again with Andy in it, because Andy wasn't in the original version. And Andy brought such a different sound and vibe and element to it that, for me, that's one of my personal favourites, definitely. And to play that live's brilliant as well.
Yeah. They're all good to play live.
Yeah, sure. I can imagine actually the energy that comes off the record. I'm sure that is replicated in a live environment. So for those people that maybe haven't heard Death of the High Street yet, how would you describe your sound to them?
Listen, one of them all. This question is always tricky to navigate, because I think we see ourselves as we are a rock band. We've got punk elements, there's spoken word elements to it. There's an alternative kind of post-punk sound to it, and it can be straight down the middle kind of pop music as well at the same time. But I think we've got social commentary. That's definitely what we like to talk about. We like to sort of choose issues that everybody is affected by, and everybody there's not anybody that's going to listen to it and not know what we're talking about.
Sure.
We try and put in lots of popular references, and so yeah, I think we're kind of straight down the middle rock, social commentary rock band, I guess. Yeah, it's always difficult because I guess we play what we feel is good, and it's kind of, we get so many times that someone will go, "Oh, you sound like this," and you think, "Oh, great, that's brilliant, love that band," and then someone will go, "Oh, you really sound like that," and it'll be a completely different sound to what someone else has said we sound like.
Sure.
Everybody's picking up a different vibe, aren't they? But it's really hard to kind of go, "Oh, we sound like this, we sound like that,"
Yeah, sure, okay. So
do it as well, and when you start saying we sound like this, and you want to do something different, everyone goes, "Oh, that's not that." So kind of like,
yeah, sure.
Whatever people take from it, that's what kind of we are.
Yeah, sure. So, as you guys know, hopefully you do anyway, we at This Is The Music like to try and like shine a bit of a light on bands like yourselves that are trying to make their way on the music scene. So kind of like over the last sort of 12 months or so, roughly, what sort of bands or maybe solo artists have sort of you guys been listening to that have caught your eye?
Let me think.
Well, there's definitely a few straight away that we've gigged with quite a lot that we really get along with, and we really kind of like what they're doing. And Patron Saint for one, Fakers, they're from Derby, and then there's the Mees. The Mees are really good lads.
Yeah, great band.
Who else are we thinking?
I mean, we've been asked this question a few times before. I find it difficult sometimes because I try to go out my way to listen to new music all the time. But then it's what did someone say? It's like a busman's holiday. When you're so focused on your own band, your own sound, writing your own song, sometimes other music is a distraction, or I'm not necessarily listening to it properly because it's kind of, I need it as a background noise or what have you. So
sure.
I think those as local bands, we've built a good rapport with them, and we always enjoy, linking up with those guys.
Definitely.
And it being a local connection as well, Derby, Nottingham is trying to, is all sort of supporting each other. That's been a good thing that we've developed over the last 12 months and more into it.
Yeah, sure. There's some really exciting bands there that you've mentioned, and I think, as you say, there does seem, I think it proves that a lot of people just think that it's all about London. Do you know what I mean? But there are actually other scenes that are out there, and obviously, so I think there's 3 or 4 bands there that you mentioned, and I personally like them as well. So, which is nice to hear.
There's so many bands out. There's so many bands. You can go to any city, and last year we were kind of up and down the country quite a bit, and you bump into so many people, and there's so many good bands out there, but I don't think anyone's got time enough to be able to listen to everybody that is making music. It's a dog eat dog world, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, unfortunately, but hopefully there's going to be a couple, or maybe a little bit more than that, but hopefully there's going to be some bands that are actually going to maybe break through and maybe get to the other side type of thing, on more into the mainstream type of thing, which would obviously be fantastic and sort of prove that British guitar music, as they say, is alive and kicking. So would you guys, obviously just mentioned there about you're playing up and down the country like last year, obviously I've not caught you live yet, so is your live set full of original songs, or would you ever slip a cover in there? And if you haven't thought of that yet or done that yet, what cover would you choose?
Well, we used to do covers, but we just do our own original stuff now, really.
Yeah, I think if we were playing, we might play gigs for friends or a kind of local gig. We might chuck in an odd cover that we used to do, but we've kind of got Andy for that. Andy's like a walking jukebox, so whenever we play, Andy might, we're kind of sandwiched by a bit of an acoustic set from Andy, so he kind of fills that covers thing. But I think we prefer to stick to originals for majority of gigs, especially if we're going to a proper venue playing, we will stick to original songs. But what would I cover if we could? I'd have to go for something, I don't know, like Joy Division or something like that.
I knew you were gonna say
Like Shadow Play or something like that.
I thought you were going to say New Order.
New Order song.
We were working on a cover of Shadow Play. Can't do that. Actually, it might work. It might work with us.
We used to do a cover of the Beatles' Taxman, didn't we?
It was a good,
and you used to put a rap in the middle of it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So like you'd break out and we'd have a rap in the middle. And I used to love playing that because it's proper funky. And everyone like popping along, and then they'd be like, what? What's that? And I just rap in the middle. So,
We did a reggae version of All Along the Watchtower.
Yeah, we did do it. To be fair,
please tell me. Please tell me that there are some recordings of these versions knocking around.
There might be a dodgy phone recording somewhere.
Yeah.
Sound like this Zoom call.
I think there is actually. I think we played one of them. Did you play?
I don't know.
Oh, no, I don't think we did. I think we did originals.
Watch this space, in the next year or two.
Great stuff. I love that. So I'm sort of quite intrigued to see how you guys are going to approach this next question. So how would you describe a fellow band member in one word? And I'll let you guys try to decide who's going to answer for who. One word might be a little bit difficult, so we can extend this.
Ash is organised. That's the word I would use. Ash is organised.
Okay, right, yeah, lovely.
I'll do Andy then. Unorganised.
Yeah, easy. Joe, you are consistent.
That leaves me with Scott then.
Be nice.
I've heard you call him lots of things before.
Prolific.
I think one of them sounds like consistent.
I will take prolific.
Brilliant stuff.
I think we should make that like a beginning of every band practice. Just say one thing about each band member.
And if there's any fallouts after this, I will not be held responsible.
Yeah, you'll see tomorrow morning. Well, there's no more.
I'm going solo now.
Yeah, that's right. Brilliant. So kind of like then what are the band's plans for the rest of the year? Obviously we've got the single obviously that came out, we've got the videos dropping tomorrow evening, or is out now, depending of course when you're listening to this. So yeah, what are the plans? Are there like more new music coming out? We're looking at gigs. What's the full process?
So gigs definitely. Yeah, like we said, last year we did quite a few gigs, a lot of gigs up and down the country, and it was all fun and games. Like loved every second of it, but we've kind of maybe we're going to focus on more local gigs, Derby, Nottingham, try and build up that way. But we're still going further afield occasionally, but we're just not going to drive up to Darlington to play to one guy.
Sure.
We played at wicked venues. That's no disrespect to them. It's cost us a lot of money over this last year. We're probably wiser to.
Well, it was money and the time as well, wasn't it? Because all the time we were gigging. Obviously, we weren't in the rehearsal space, and we weren't creating new stuff. And it's like we took last year to gig a lot. We've kind of maybe shifted focus slightly this year to be more creative.
So we've got plans to. So we're trying to tap Andy's wizardry up with setting our unit up for recording, because we intend to do a self-recorded EP.
Well, we're kind of halfway through the first couple of tracks.
Yeah, and then the plan is after that is an album. Is getting to the studio, beg, borrow, steal enough money to get into the studio. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'd have an album out essentially. So that's the plan. Is so gig Derby, Nottingham as much as we can. Get at festivals in the summer, to try and get as many bookings as we can, as many stages as we can, and then focus on. We've got new material coming out our ears really at the minute. We can't really move for writing a new song and a new riff. So it's quite exciting.
New material.
Yeah, literally. So lots of new material to come, and in the form of an EP. and then an album. Yeah.
Sure. Well, it certainly sounds like a really exciting time for you guys, and as a fan of the band, I'm really interested, and as I say, really excited as well to see what is coming, and those plans sound absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, we have reached the end of the This Is The Music Meets Death of the High Street podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure having you guys on. I've really enjoyed it, and getting to understand a little bit more of how you started, and obviously the band dynamics. But just before I do let you go, can you let the listeners know what social media platforms that they can find you on?
Go on, Mr. Social Media, you tell them.
Yeah, this is my job as well, so
Organised.
don't give it handy. Yeah, so obviously we're on, Facebook, Instagram. We've got a Twitter, not massively active on it, but we do as much as we can. We've got a YouTube channel.
We have a TikTok.
We
We've got a TikTok.
Do we?
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
Anything like that.
Have you seen all your videos, Joe? I've been putting up on you. Oh dear. Don't look at them. A TikTok. What else have we got? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. SoundCloud.
Oh, we've got SoundCloud, yeah, SoundCloud. Spotify, obviously.
Yeah.
All
Brilliant.
the usual ones where you can find bands and new music. We're there.
Brilliant, great stuff. We'll include those links in the episode bio as well, to help everyone find you. As we've chatted about during this podcast, Not Fair is out now across all the usual streaming and download platforms. Death of the High Street, thanks very much for coming on, and I wish you continued success with the release, and those very exciting plans that you've got coming up for the rest of the year.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having us.
All that leaves me to say is to thank everyone who has listened to the latest This Is The Music Meets podcast. Please subscribe so you never miss out on any future episodes. And if you are loving the podcast, show us some love by giving us a 5-star rating and written review, as it really does help the artists we interview to be discovered. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again very soon.